What we do here is go back.
And hopefully we're live, possibly. Good evening, Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. It is Saturday the something of whenever, 23rd of May, 2026. Hopefully you can hear me and see me. I'm making the last use of the sun before it completely sets here on what has been a glorious day here in the good old UK. Let's hope you can see and hear, etc. And happy birthday to Aletta. Sounds and looks great, Mike, says Sky Stalker. Thank you very much. I would tell you how hot it is in here, but I have no idea because my little thermometer thing, not thermometer, whatever it's called, weather device, is yet again exhausted another battery, which I'm just going to see if it has or whether it's just knackered now. Nope, that battery appears to be good. Okay. I don't know. I need a proper battery tester. Thank you, Mark Gaines, who's been a supporter for 14 months. Hello, Mike, Catherine, everyone in the chat. How are you doing?
I'm confused.
Alessa,
no lights to turn off.
Alessa says it's cold and raining here in Ohio.
It's a little bit on the cold side here now.
It's starting to chill off a little bit now.
Which is lovely.
Music still playing. Is it?
Mine's still doing this. A bit of work.
Kath's watching last week's stream, I think. Is the music still playing? Let me know. Doesn't say it is. Shouldn't be.
Oh, no, no.
Mike, music is still playing.
Maybe it's just from playing in their own head.
Have you got another preview window open? Maybe. There's no other music playing, I assure you. Let me see, I can play some music. That's enough of that.
That's the play.
Shouldn't be any music.
I'm getting so fed up with this bloody...
Yep, everyone else is saying no music here. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, good evening and welcome all of you, now that you can hear me and see me. That is fantastic. We're heading into some lovely summery weather here in the UK. This is a bank holiday weekend for us here. So Monday is a no working day for quite a lot of people, especially kind of 9-to-5ers. Most businesses will be closing. Obviously official or what's the word they used during COVID? Essential things will be still running. So
Well, not essential, but...
essential things like your vape shops and nail bars and Turkish barbers. No doubt they will all still be open. Maisie, what are you doing? Do you want my chair? There you go.
Jed.
Ugh. Go on then. Up you get. Go on. Jump up. Yeah, you can do it, can't you? Sorry, I had to tend to Maisie. She's rather old. She's looking at me now. She wants to sit on me. Do you want to sit on me? Oh, he's weeing on my chair.
Babes. Don't pee on the
Don't pee on
camera.
there. Oh no. Oh, she's peeing on the table now. Maisie, what are you doing?
Oh,
Maisie. That's not very good viewing. Jesus. Oh dear. My apologies, viewer. All both of you. I've got to clean up
she's
this.
gonna pee on my keyboard, is she again?
Maisie, that's not good at all. Oh, Stroof. She peed on my good chair. Oh dear. Sky says, Turkish barbers, is that some sort of obscure British reference? Yeah, it kind of is. It very much is. Rasher has been a member now for 56 months. In close to 5 years. I thought she was doing it again then. Thank you for your support. All of you. Thank you all for your support. And John David Sullivan's also been a member now for 26 months. Catching up. Kitty marking her kingdom. Yeah, she is. Swine. That's on my chair. Oh no. Dave Underhill's been a member for 30 months. Sky says, poor Kitty, something wrong? Is she mad at Mike? No, she's just really old and does that.
We haven't done these.
Sorry, there's a bit there. I might as well just leave the light on. Viali has been a member now for 26 months as well, same as JDS. Alejandro says, are all you guys flexing VIP status? No, if you're a YouTube member, you get free super stickers, which you can display in the chat. A little bit of a flex, I guess. David Underhill says, 30 months seems like a lifetime. Well, for some people it could be. Semrab says, sorry, new here. Is this the knitting club? Why not? Kath's been doing some crochet in the garden today. It's been very exciting. Ah, dear. Anyway, so tonight's stream, we'll be taking a look at the Lian Li O11 Vision M and also the Lian Li O11 Vision M Digital, and also taking a look at the Lian Li Hydroshift 2 Curved OLED TL 360. I think that is all of those right. They got some such long ass names, haven't they? The longest one I've seen so far, well, not the longest, but the one which I found the hardest was today. I was doing a video for the MSI motherboard which we looked at in last week's stream, and that was the MSI MPG X870i Edge TI Evo Wi-Fi 7. It just gets worse and worse. Alejandro says, ah, nice, I'm subscribed to the Patreon since November 2024. And we thank you very much for your support. It is much appreciated. Firestorm says, Turkish barbers got about 20 in Hereford and 15 coffee. Don't know you. Dutch Jan says, PayPal is not allowing me to become a member. Wonder why. Samram just say it again, lol. No, I'm not going to. Alexa says, long name, why not just call it Eddie? Eddie the motherboard. Mavis. That's what they should call them, Mavis. Back in the day, motherboards did actually have names very similar to that. Commodore 64, I think, was one of the early ones which had a board which had, well, the various chips had names, and most of them were female names, if I remember rightly. And of course, Apple famously had the Lisa motherboard, which became a PC. Dutch Jan says, Mike, what do you think of the Cooler Master Master Box? Not keen. Which one are you on about? There's quite a few in the Master Box range. There's the MB311, I think. Masterbox Lite 3.1, Masterbox 5, 3, all sorts. There's loads of them. Alejandro says, I'm VIP now. There you go. You're in green. Good to see you. And hello, Phil Stott. How you doing? David Underhill says, the Amiga 500 was the Rock Lobster motherboard with Paula and Denise chips. Yes. Very, very true. Yes, it was. Dutch Jan says it comes via a Dutch bank and a German postal address. Financial stuff has never been my strong point. So I'm not sure why that would be. But thank you for making the attempt. Why it doesn't work, I have no idea. O'Reilly says, Mike, you talking about motherboard name, you sound just like the tech version of Jeremy Clarkson. after that really long conning sig thing. Sky says Master Box is their kind of bottom of the barrel cases from Cooler Master, if memory serves. Yeah, it's kind of, it used to be like a catch-all for all their kind of lower end cases, but sorry, but I think they've increased it so that they're sort of mid-range as well.
Leave.
Who knows?
Stop scratching.
Also, any other tech things that you wish to talk about? I'll try and head off getting the computer out for a little while, just so we can let everybody get into the chat and see if there's any other things. I will say one thing of note, which I've been doing this week. Now, maybe you lot are all techies. Actually, let me get my voltage meter so I can finish off this task before I do that, and I'll talk and I'll measure battery voltage at the same time, possibly. I don't know if that's actually going to be possible, but I will definitely give it a go. And thank you, Kath, for cleaning up for the cat. Muchos gracias. Right, here is my voltage meter, multimeter, kindly supplied, I believe, by William Bodie back in the day. So let's set it to 20 volts, that'd be fine. And let's see what we got. This should be 3.3. 2.93. So it's not really suitable to go into a motherboard, but it should work for this device. So I'm not sure why it's not. Or maybe I had it in the wrong way. Yes, going back to what I was saying, I have... I had the battery ran the wrong way. Maybe that was it. Actually, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I had it in the right way because I took it out of that side. God only knows why people trust me with tech advice. Yes, this week I have been making a concerted effort. Sorry, let's scratch that. Let's go back to what I was actually going to say originally. I have been making an effort, and possibly you have too. Yeah, that's working. Oh shit! No, it's not. This thing's broken. Oh, that was a gift from Ugly Bob. Bless his heart. It still stick? Stick there, you bastards! Oh, feck it. Right. Oh.
We ain't got much room in our
It's going in the bin. I've had enough. It's going in the bin. I'll buy another if I need to. I need a hydrometer and a no, what's it called? Thermostat, barometer, temperature gauge, all those things. Right, I'll spit it out. Have you, and I'm sure there's some of you that use Microsoft accounts, whether it be for work or for pleasure, have you been noticing recently, if you use Microsoft Authenticator, which you should do really, have you been noticing recently that you're getting more random Authenticator pop-ups where people potentially are attempting to access your account? Let me know in the chat if that is applicable to you. Have you noticed it? Have you heard about it even? There has been quite a few instances recently where it seems that a lot of the Microsoft and Microsoft 365 servers have been coming under, well, threats, let's say. And there's been lots of phishing attempts, and they seem to be trying to replicate Authenticator login requests, which pop up on your phone. I'll just see if anyone has... Alejandro says, question, Mike, why am I still getting ads if I'm a member now? You still get ads. That's nothing to do with members. That's to do with YouTube, sadly.
Watch it on Brave.
If you watch it on Brave, or you watch it from Patreon, then you don't get any ads, but you don't get the streams on there, unfortunately. So Brave is the way to go. Firestorm says I had it about 3 weeks ago. Dutch Jan says I don't use it for personal purposes, and my employer has their own. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, basically, yeah, I've had, and George, our son, he had one last Saturday or Sunday, and he said, are you trying to use my PC? It's like, no. He said, oh, I've just had an authenticator request come through. It's like, no, I haven't been using it. So we went through all the usual process, and unfortunately, for some bizarre reason, these authenticator requests don't appear in your recent logins on the Microsoft account page. So you can't tell where they're originating from, which is a real pain, because if you knew where they're originating from, you could kind of work out roughly if the account is under any sort of threat. Now, obviously they can't log in, because if you've got Authenticator on your device and you don't click approve, then it won't log in. But in my mind, it appears that someone is putting in your or my Microsoft account credentials, i.e. the email address, and are trying to kind of use a phishing method to try and get you to press the button. Which, if you think about it, if you've had a few beers or something, or you're just not paying attention and you get Authenticator pop up, I guess there is a chance that some people will click on it, just to, even by accident, just click on it. So yeah, it is a little bit of concern, which led me to think then about things that I use, such as like OneDrive and other online services, which could potentially be breached by one of those authentications actually happening. So I have spent many hours trying to get rid of everything I possibly have on my Microsoft account, including everything that was in my OneDrive, because obviously if they authenticate your account, basically they've got full access to OneDrive as well. So if you've got any secure documents in there, it's a concern. So being someone who is somewhat proactive security wise, I thought, right, it's a great time for me to put my money where my mouth is. I've had a NAS for a long time. It's been doing backups, and I guess I rely on that. I have got a backup drive of my NAS. So not only have I got my NAS, which isn't a backup technically, it's a replication of it. It's a snapshot, an image or whatever. But I've also got a backup of the NAS itself on a larger drive. I've got two of those drives. One which is here, one which is kept elsewhere. So it's a pretty good backup solution, I think, personally. Better than most. I did like the thought of using OneDrive as a kind of an additional off-site storage for documents. But with all the things that have been going on with Microsoft, and no doubt with Google as well and other kind of online services, it does make you wonder if it's now time to kind of start reining in where our data actually resides. I know it's a bit fear-mongery, but the reality is, like, I know it does happen to some people, or at least we hear it happens to some people. Actually, let me know in the chat. Have you experienced a data breach of your own? Have you had an account compromised? Have you lost data from that compromise? I'm actually genuinely interested to know. Now, I know some of you don't want to say so because you don't want to show that that's happened to you, but I would ask you, please be honest, and if you have had it happen, just let us know, and what your experiences were, and what have you learned from it. I'm at the position where hopefully I'm trying to head this off at the past. I know in a lot of our videos I've done things of how to not use a Microsoft account, and then I'm using a Microsoft account. Now, I guess a Microsoft account isn't for everybody. There's some people that do like it, there's some people that don't. I was someone who did like it for the aforesaid reasons of being able to log in, the authentication, the OneDrive access, etc., etc. Also the Microsoft 365 with Outlook, etc., and all that kind of stuff. So it seemed like a good idea, but now that Office has gone up in price ridiculously, like Office 365 is now ridiculously expensive. It used to be like £40 a year for the family. It's now £100 a year. I'm just not going to do that. So that is something which you've stopped. So we're now using the Microsoft Office Professional Plus. So not the subscription-based one. We're using the Professional Plus, which, funny enough, you can get from... Where's the link? Where's the link? There we are. premiumcdkeys.com/Mike's Unboxing, where you can now save even more money than you would have done before, because Microsoft 365 has just become ridiculously expensive for what it is. So if you do want to pick up Office for, I think it's around about 11 or 12 pounds for the Office Professional Plus version, then yeah, potentially you can save yourself some money there. I'm going to look through the chat a minute, see what...
Skystalker's the only one that's lost anything, and that was Steam, and I lost my Steam account, didn't I?
Calf had Steam as well, yeah.
But that was with the authenticator thing on it.
Okay, nothing from Dutch Jan. O'Reilly says switch to passkey login. Well, I've actually got passkey login per device, but I've also got, obviously, yeah, I've got passkey for logins, but I've also got authenticator as well. So if my device hasn't got a passkey, then it will try to use Authenticator. Or even I use that as a double step. So if I log into my PC, for instance, I use my passkey, and then if I want to go into a specific Microsoft area, it will then ask me to authenticate as well, or a passkey depending on what I've set up. So yeah, the more things the better. And that's the thing, the passkey or passwordless, having a passkey is a good idea, but that's per device. So if someone's trying to access your account, they aren't on that device, so it won't ever ask them for a passkey. All they will need is either your account password or for the account to be authenticated in some way, shape or form. Which, if you have a session token, which they get a session token, that basically means you're logged in, so they will have access. So again, I think it's...
Wouldn't it be just safer to not have to have accounts, full stop, and then they wouldn't have your data, would they? But you can't watch things without an account on things.
This is true. So, storing your data online, I think has got to a point where it is now not a very good idea at all. So, if you're using Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, whatever it is, I think we've now come to the time, especially now that AI is being used a lot for actually hacking into these systems. So yeah, Google Pictures, anything that stores your document, even Amazon photo storage.
And their Ring.
I think it's a very good idea to just get out of the habit of doing that. Yes, back in the day it was great because you had extra storage, which was essentially free. But when does something free mean that you are basically you're the price? You pay the price eventually. Samram says, why do they offer cheap software but only if you ring to activate? Who was that? I'm not sure who you're on about there. Mark Berry says, if you go on to have I been pwned, it tells you it tells you if your email has been breached. Yes, that is again one of the problems. My Microsoft account is attached to an email address which has been pwned numerous times. So even though I've secured it, it's out there. And again, if you ever sign up for any service, you log into anywhere and you use your email address, even if you're just buying a pizza, like you use your email address, that is going to be somewhere in someone's database for it to be potentially breached.
Your passport renewed without a phone number or email, can you?
Yeah.
And it's disgusting because I was not wanting to give them mine. I don't give it out to anyone, either of those.
That's a good idea. Greg says there, encrypt your data before it's pushed up to the cloud. That's actually a pretty good idea. I know there is a very slight overhead, depending on the system, for encrypting and decrypting on the fly. But yes, that possibly is a good way. Our Portier says, I think Google had a data leak once because I had all my passwords saved automatically, which I don't do anymore. I could change all my passwords had they already ordered and paid for items using my account. Oof. That's horrible, isn't it? Firestorm says, I think the only thing I store online is photos. I would like to back up on a NAS. Hard drives, they are expensive now. I wish I'd done it years ago. Yes, that is definitely something which...
It's almost like it's done on purpose.
Yeah, it just seems like it never happens at the right time, does it?
All these coincidences.
Mark Gaines says, my last password manager data was breached, switched to RoboForm and never had a problem. Cool. Sky says, Greg M is a smart guy. Hey, Rory O'Donnell, how you doing? Matthew Day says, phone activation is the super cheap version, but make sure you sign up for a premium CDKeys account as you need the online gateway tool. Traditional phone activation is dead. Yes, that's what I was thinking. I thought they stopped doing phone activation a month or so ago. Maybe even longer.
And another thing is when you have your phone linked to these things, well, not Matthew Day's thing, but when you have it as like one of your, like Amazon for example, when my phone provider went bankrupt, it was terrible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To get my account back.
Yeah, that is a good
Because they
point.
want to send text to your
If
old
you
number.
if you have sort of two-factor authentication and you want to use your telephone or your mobile number as one of those kind of send me a text type things, or a registered
or
device,
you want to update your phone number to the new phone number, they want you to confirm on your old number a code. But if you have no access to that old number anymore, because my provider went bankrupt with no notice, you kind of lose your accounts over that as well, don't you?
there you go. Not sure if you could hear that, but
So say it.
I'm going to, but I'm not sure. Could you hear what Kath said then? Do I have to repeat it, or did it come through clear? I can never tell if it does or not. I'll have to wait for the chat to kick in.
I don't think it does.
Yes, says Michael Ellingham. You could hear. Excellent.
Repeat it, please.
Repeat it, please. Okay, Jimmy's not here. But essentially, what I'm saying is, like with multi-factor authentication or 2FA, quite often you'll use your mobile phone as the kind of one of the multi-factor devices, especially your phone number. Now, we had a situation a little while back where the phone provider we were using went into administration and the phone system just went. So when we were trying to get accounts back or to
basically change my phone number.
They can't hear you.
Well, just
all right.
to change
Yeah.
my phone number.
Basically, if you have to change your phone number, it's a really hard thing to do if you can't access the old number, because obviously, yeah, they want to send you a text or some sort of notification to that device with the old phone number, but you haven't got access to that phone number. So multi-factor authentication, as useful as it can be. Hey George. That's the ice machine, by the way, if you can hear that. Alexa says I don't understand all of it. Heard it partially, says that's Jan. So yeah, basically what it is, like multi-factor authentication, if you use your phone for that multi-factor authentication,
I didn't use it for...
It's using your phone number. So if your phone number is no longer available, you lose your phone, the service provider goes, your SIM gets damaged or whatever. It's very hard sometimes to get accounts back or to change account details without having that multi-factor, that number available to be able to do it. That's essentially what it is. So yeah, don't, well, I know these days a lot of time they do ask you your phone number and they use that as some form of authentication. But yeah, if you can avoid using your phone number, because that's just a pain. Yes, Greg says Microsoft is discontinuing SMS for MFA. That's the thing, Microsoft are getting rid of SMS for multi-factor authentication, which I think is actually a good idea. But they're also getting rid of passwords, because passwords can be easily breached.
But why can't you just put your key code as your password?
Well, that's what passkeys are.
But what's the difference? Why can't you just have that? And then they go, no, you need a...
Because your
You need a symbol and you need a letter and a capital.
No, but passkeys don't do that. Passkeys, when you put in your passkey, there's part of the token goes to the website, which is encrypted, and part of it stays on your computer. So when you try to then put in your passkey again at a later date, like a PIN number, if your PIN number is wrong or you're on a different device, then you can't do it. So it's not as simple as just like a number or 4 numbers or 6 numbers. Those 6 numbers also have 2 parts of an encryption key, one server side and one client side. Hence why we have things like TPM and Secure Boot, because it's part of the TPM. So you
can keep tabs on everything you're doing on what?
Well, no, they can't see it because it's encrypted. No one can see it. Well, you can't even see it yourself, I don't think. Anyway. Alright, says...
And the letter have got another thing in common, no phones.
No phones, yeah.
We were pissing ourselves at those two.
That's Jan in a letter. Seems to be, they're like match made in heaven. Matthew Day says he had great fun transferring to his PC. He's finally built it. And everything needs to be re-authenticated. It's just such a pain, isn't it?
I just got rid of everything. Everything that got hacked, I just got back into and got rid of.
So yeah,
Easiest.
going back to what I was saying earlier, I am in the process of de-Microsofting my life. So there will be no OneDrive, there will be no Microsoft account, and hell no, there will be no Microsoft Edge. So I am trying to make life easier and a little bit less stressful, because it is stressful when you're sat there doing nothing at all, or you're actually on your computer and all of a sudden you get an authentication request come up on your phone. It's like, well, that isn't me, because I'm actually here. It's very weird.
Move it to Linux.
Linux doesn't really change anything, because Linux is just a base operating system. You still have exactly the same applications, or similar applications and similar processes, because that is the digital word. So even if you're using Linux, you're still possibly using Google, you're possibly still using OneDrive, maybe Dropbox, etc., etc., and you've still got online storage. So yeah, your operating system may not be as intrusive, but you don't use the operating system as your daily kind of work. It is just the foundation that everything else works on.
You coming round to my way of thinking. Are you going to use iCloud?
iCloud will probably go as well. I don't really use iCloud anyway.
But you can't transfer your photos from your phone onto your computer if you don't use iPhone.
I'd never do.
I know, but you can't do it even. That's
Yeah.
how it's stuck in the system.
That was one good thing about iCloud. If you have a NAS, it's so much easier to transfer the files from your phone to your NAS than it is to use like iCloud. Keep your data local. That is, yeah, essentially that is what I want to do. Greg says, what type of authentication request for a time-based token or a passkey login? I don't know. That's the thing, I don't know. All it was is I went to my phone and there was a notification at the top saying Microsoft Authenticator, do you approve this login? And
so
I don't.
Me and you share a lot of accounts, so usually I'm the one asking you, aren't I? Did you just log into? Because it comes up on my stuff, not on my computer, but my phone usually. So
anyway, we will be doing our very best to try and keep data as local as possible, wherever possible.
In our 15-minute city.
And if I do need to get access to my data outside of the home, I can do it via my NAS, which, yeah, again, is another possible vector of attack, but there's only so much you can do. And my NAS also has multi-factor authentication as well, and also is on a private network, so potentially it's a little bit easier. That is passkey then. I think it must be passkey because passwords don't technically exist anymore. Although I think if you try to sign into your Microsoft account from like a web page, I think you still get the option of using a password. Possibly not, I don't know, I'm not sure. Dutch Jan says, my PCs have a secondary network card without internet access, which my NAS is connected to them. But then couldn't software bridge your LANs like the way that a virtual machine does? I'm assuming you've got some sort of firewall rules in place so that that potentially doesn't happen, but I'm just thinking, is that a thing? If you have like 2 subnets or 2 IP ranges, is that not possible for it to still kind of piggyback because it's still running in the same operating system?
So Greg says, so what happens if you have a break-in or, heaven forbid, a fire? In which case,
yeah, we have got.
If you had material goods, they would be gone anyway, wouldn't they?
Yeah, if it was your material goods, they'd be gone.
And I'm not that bothered on phones.
As I did sort of mention, I think I do have. So yeah, this is backup drive number 1. Backup drive number 2 is off-site. So I've got a couple of these. I should have 3 or more really. This is a Western Digital 5 terabyte backup drive, and this is normally plugged into my NAS, and there's a backup which runs on there. So all the machines in the house that are valuable to me back up to the NAS daily and take a snapshot, and then all of those snapshots and all the rest of the data which is stored on the NAS, such as photos, documents, etc., those are all chucked onto here on a nightly basis. So every night, if I wanted to, I could take it out and swap it over, but realistically, like,
And to be
the data
fair-
doesn't change that quickly, so every week is fine.
And to be fair, most documents of any use you delete anyway, don't you? So
Yeah, realistically, most of the stuff that I actually need, I delete.
You've already deleted
I go,
it,
oh
so you
shit,
need
where
them.
have I done that? David Owens says, my NAS is inside a fireproof gun safe. Nice. Dutch Jazz says a static DNS for the second network card. Okay. I must admit, when it comes to networking, I have no idea really how the intricate parts of it work. So whether it can be bridged or not, I don't know. It was just something that occurred to me. Sky says, my new iPhone has limited access to satellites for limited text messaging if I'm out of range.
What does that mean?
If he can't get access to his phone, I suppose, to the network.
So you wouldn't have Wi-Fi or anything there, or 3G or whatever.
Yeah, if you're
everyone
like,
else uses.
if you're in the middle of the salt flats or the desert or something, you can use the satellites. I think it was a deal they did with Elon. Right, I'm going to put the light on because it's getting a bit dark now. And the camera's probably having to do work overtime. Close that now.
Yeah.
I'll keep it slightly open. Right, there we go. Where's my timepiece gone? I can't believe this thing's broken. What a piece of shit. Sorry, Bob. Well, it's 23 degrees Celsius and it's currently 65% humidity. Did I say 65? That's what I meant to say.
David Underhill, my mobile number has been the same for years, no matter which provider I've used. But if your provider went now,
Yeah, if your provider went bankrupt tonight, you wouldn't be able to get your PAT code to transfer your number to a new service.
And now I don't know my phone number, so I can't use it. And I never will learn it.
Gold Fishy Boy says, I back up to a number of hard drives and some are in a fireproof box. Yeah, but I think if you take your data seriously, and like there's some things which I store picture-wise, which, to be honest with you, I probably shouldn't do. Like for laziness, I take a picture of my passport. So if I ever have to need my passport information, then, or my driving license, I don't need to get it or find it because I can just look it up, which is really lazy. But also it's a little bit of a safeguard as well, because if I actually lose the physical thing, then at least I've got a digital replica of it, which I can use to get information from if I need to. Not ideal. And also, like things like that, you probably shouldn't store, especially on a PC, or definitely not in the cloud, like OneDrive or something. So I think that's the things that you should be more wary of. Like, yeah, if you've got pictures on there, pictures are fine.
For all that, don't they?
Yeah.
For you to send to them.
It's one of those things. Like if you've got things like your backup codes for whatever it is, and you save pictures of them, screenshot them, and then save them and upload them, it's kind of, you're asking for trouble a little bit. Eventually, I think. Alpha Dingo, use Linux, it's much safer. It isn't. Indigo, sorry. It isn't.
Dingo.
How can Linux be safer than any other operating system if you're using online storage? It's got nothing to do with the operating system at all. The operating system is a means to an end. So you could be using Apple, you could be using iOS, you could be using Android, you could be using Windows. It doesn't matter what you're using. You could be using the OS built into your smart TV. It doesn't make a difference what you're actually using. It's the fact that you're uploading data to cloud services or offline services that you don't have complete control of. Like in your own home, if someone tries to rob you, there's certain things you can do, such as lock the doors, beat the bastards to death with a blunt object. It's probably not a good idea to do that, but when it's online, you're completely defenseless and you're relying on some dipshit company who probably employs like people for like
AI.
£2 an hour, or AI even worse, to safeguard your shit. And it's like, it's getting worse. And now that they're using AI to crack AI, it's just a matter of time before the whole pack of cards comes falling down, and potentially with all your data, which is not great. Alpha Indigo says, I knew that would start a flame war. It's true though, isn't it? The operating system has become very much a relic. Nothing of the operating system these days makes much difference. Because most of the time, it's going to be stuff which is online based. Your web browser, your OneDrive account, your whatever it is everything is online, isn't it? So unless you're actually physically offline,
they have a record of everything we've done online already.
It's just crap.
To be honest.
John David's a German Shepherd's a good idea. And if you go,
a German flame, no, a ginger flame.
David Underhill says the biggest myth is that Linux is hack proof. Yeah, there's actually in the I read a lot of these like hacker news type sites to find out what is going on, and yeah, Linux is under a lot of pressure at the moment. But they're keeping that all really, really quiet for some reason. I wonder why that would be. It's funny how it's almost like when a government gets voted in, and the people that kind of were cheerleading for them, when it turns out that they were just as bad as the old government, they go really quiet. Alexa says Linux is only somewhat safe now because hackers don't want to mess with less than 5% of desktops. It's true. Ordinary Dude says, Mike, if you want to de-Microsoft your life, then move your main personal computing over to your Mac and only use a Windows PC for functions that require it. The thing is again, the operating system makes no difference at all. And saying that, Mac has recently got a load of vulnerabilities of what was supposed to be completely secure, and it turns out it's not. And they've just recently used AI to go through the entire system to find out all its weaknesses, and it looks like it's almost as bad as Windows. And no doubt, when they can be bothered, they'll do the same with Linux, and no doubt it'll be the same, because it's an operating system. It's going to have flaws in it which can be exploited. There isn't
if we didn't have
a secure operating system. It's impossible.
Would be.
Yeah.
As we have tech panel, think do that.
Alpha Indigo says, I bought a new secure tablet. It's made of granite, hard to input text, but appears it's not got a delete key. Yeah. Viali says nothing is 100% secure. No. You can try to mitigate your potential. And again, I would argue that if you don't know how to use macOS, iOS, Android, Linux, whatever it is, if you don't really know how the operating system works, you are just as much likely to be under attack or threat as you would be using a Windows system if you are someone who's grown up with Windows. Because with Windows, you can sort of tell when things aren't going well, or there's something wrong with your system, or you're being attacked, or you've got a virus. Whereas I think with Linux and Apple Macs as well, like most Apple Mac users wouldn't have a clue that there's a virus actually running on their system. And probably the same for Linux. And no doubt there is stuff running on them, and they're running as zombies because they don't really install antivirus software or malware protection on Linux or Mac OS. So, yeah, you could be... I think that's why Windows, you do generally install operating system software, which is the Mac, like the Windows Defender, and that alerts you to things that are going on. But on Mac or Linux, what do you have at a kind of hardware level, a base software level, to actually tell you you've got stuff like that going on? Just because you don't know it's going on doesn't mean it isn't going on. Yeah, Shaky says, when Linux gets the biggest market share, hackers will work harder to try and exploit it. Exactly. Yeah, you go for the biggest markets.
Aren't apps a kind of continuation of all that stuff? Because they store your password and stuff. Whereas if you used the actual website...
Yeah. Application, yeah, it's just a mess, isn't it? It's, internet security,
I said that to you today, didn't I?
is an absolute joke. And looking back, like the Windows Phone would have been great now, because it was essentially there was very few apps that actually worked on it or that stayed on it. So you had to do things via a web browser. So
it was easy as well.
Yeah, it just seemed easier. I want my Windows Phone back. Gosh darn it.
Haven't you got it somewhere?
No. Actually, I have. Yeah, I've got a Nokia 7 somewhere. Or did I throw it out? I might have thrown it out by now.
iPhone 3, 4, 5, 7.
Alpha Indigo says we should give up this online rubbish and go back to floppy disks. Yeah, those weren't particularly secure
and
either.
Games that you actually owned.
Yeah. Dutch Jan says, I asked AI about the safest OS and the answer I got was Cubes OS.
What's that?
I've never heard of it.
I expect that's the one we're going to have to use in the future.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Right, shall we have a look at a very crazy basket case of a PC? I think it's about time we did. And it's going to hurt me amazingly to get it out. Dutch Jan says, Cubes OS runs apps in isolated virtual machines. Even if one program is compromised, the rest usually remains secure. Extreme. Yeah, but again, that's operating system level, isn't it? Or application level. They're not, like, if it gets compromised online, it doesn't matter what operating system it is, because then it's wide open. Your data is done. You are toast.
Comms requires powerful hardware and is more difficult for beginners.
Yeah. Roderick Kennedy. How you doing, Roderick? Right, let's go and get a PC. I've been dreading this because it's heavy. Spelled with an H. Capital H. Right, that's a PC. That's not a PC. Ugh. Oh God. Talk amongst yourselves. Okie dokie. Right, I've got some of the boxes first. So, we will be looking at this absolute monstrosity of an AIO. Some of you probably watched the video yesterday, maybe. But if not, you'll be seeing some of it today. So this is Lian Li's kind of flagship AIO, the Hydroshift 2 360 TL OLED curved. The first AIO that I've ever used, which actually makes me want to change my monitor to an OLED. I don't have any interest in OLEDs, but after seeing this, I'm like, that looks pretty cool. I do like that. Also, it's got a party trick up its sleeve. The actual head moves. It's motorized. So you can twist it round and you can move it up and down. It's an absolute gimmick and it's ridiculously expensive, but I like it. And it's got wireless fans. I'll wait for someone to to say, can you game on it? Yes, you can.
I think they're talking about the operating system, maybe.
Oh, right.
You can't game on... Oh, what, game on the little
monitor? My OLED smartwatch is brilliant. OLED Liano, good one.
That's John's question.
Question, if everything is running on isolated virtual machines, only that specific program goes online. Or am I completely wrong about that? I don't know. I would imagine if it's isolated, each individual instance of the virtual machine would be online if it needs to. So it'd be like, imagine, this is very cryptic, but imagine it. Imagine getting 5 toilet rolls and putting each one of your fingers and your thumb into one of those bog rolls, and then get somebody to put a lighter inside of one of them. That is effectively you being attacked on this operating system that we were talking about. So each individual instance is great, but if you set fire to this finger, then you're still going to feel the pain, but your other fingers won't be burnt. If that makes sense.
God, where do you think these things are? Is it Linux compatible, like?
No, don't be silly. I don't know.
No, that thing, I suppose.
This thing, I don't think so, no. I don't know if L-Connect 3 works on Linux. It probably doesn't. It will work, but it won't... well, no, you won't be able to display the image. You might be able to get L-Connect 3 running in a Windows layer on Linux. I don't know. Viali's got a nice cold Murphy's. Nice one. If you can't play Doom, then the OLED is pointless. You definitely can. And Riley says it makes sense. Yes, if it can connect to the internet, it can be hacked. Rick Lake, how you doing, Rick Lake? Nice to see you. Sky says it's motorized. WTF? Yes, it is motorized. So the pump head, or sorry, the LCD screen, the OLED screen, I should say, moves up and down, and it can twist because it's curved. So say for instance, like you've got your PC like this, and you can't see the screen properly, you can just adjust the software so it just spins around a bit more so you can see the screen. Or if you've got a large heatsink around your motherboard and the pump's in the wrong position, just move it up and down. Or better still, which I found was really cool, is if you're trying to take out an M.2 drive, you can just shift it up to the top and just take it out without having to remove your entire water cooling solution. I like it.
Doom was a bit late, but can I play Doom? We've had that.
Yes, yes, it can. It can play Doom. It can play. I think.
What are the pixels like on Minecraft?
The screen is actually a 2K resolution, so it's like 1048 by 2288 or something. So it's basically it's a very high resolution screen. If you think about it, 6.67 inches on an OLED is essentially the same as an iPhone 16 Plus, I think.
Okay,
So,
Mike, sold. Tell me how much you just cost me.
300 UK pounds. So that's probably about 600 Canadian dollars, I think. You will need to donate a kidney. But it has got wireless fans. And I can't wait to show you how wireless fans work, because they're kind of not wireless. But
in the UK, you wouldn't have to
yeah.
sell a kidney because you're donating. You've signed up to opt in to donation anyway.
Anyway, let's get the PC out and you can have a look and see what all this crazy nonsense is about. And also, the motherboard is this one, which was showed on the stream the other day. And also, whilst I've got this box out, I will need something, because if you have wireless fans, what is the one thing you're going to need to control them? Yes, a wireless dongle to connect up to your wireless fans. Of course, it makes absolute sense, doesn't it? It really doesn't, does it? Oh dear. Yeah, this whole thing is absolutely barking mad.
Another slice of her birthday cake.
Birthday cake? I thought she was off that because she was a diabetic.
I made this face. Camouflage, didn't I?
Bloody, I'll give you camouflage, you little.
Just like boxes, but not right in the face. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Maisie. I'm trying not to box butt you.
A bit of revenge for earlier.
Right. Let's see if we can get this thing out. Oh, it's so heavy. So this is a micro ATX case, but it weighs a ton. Or at least it does now. It's got an insane amount of hardware in it for what it is. Trying not to drop it. Need more room. Oh, God. Yeah. Right. Let's leave that box there. So, there it is. And actually, I think rather than messing around, let's just plug it in. And I will show you what it's like, hopefully. Although it might get a bit of a piss on because I haven't got a keyboard and mouse and stuff connected, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Jeez, out of breath now. And we'll put some HDMI goodness into here so you can actually see what is on there. Who said that? Oh, right.
Dingo like you there.
Dingo?
Yeah.
Dutch Jan says, sorry, looks ridiculous. Well.
Wait till it lights up, Dutch Jan.
When it lights up, it'll look even more ridiculous. And you'll be like, oh my God. What has he been smoking? Let's get my screen round. Right. With the best luck in the world, actually, I will plug in.
It only came out on Friday, Skystalker. Or Thursday, wasn't it?
I think he already commented on the video.
He said, gosh darn it, Mike, I can't find it. Sound in Canada.
Right.
Bang!
Yeah, sunglasses. It's a bit of a flashbang. Is it loaded yet?
One day it will go bang.
I heard something make a noise then.
Not enough RGB.
Is it loading? Oh, there we go. Yes.
Not bright enough.
I thought the fans were going to do something. Is the top screen... Oh. Sorry, my mistake. I didn't plug in the screen.
Bang!
God, Jesus, would you stop doing that? Fuck's sake. That's better. You can actually see what's going on now. How's that for a bit of craziness? That's a lot of RGB. Well, it's actually less than what I have usually, because the fan blades themselves aren't actually RGB. So, yes. Now you can see what all this is like. Now this case, just the case itself, is only $69. And in the UK it's on sale at the moment for about £63, I think. Which is, yeah, not a massive amount, I don't think, really, for what it is. Especially if you like this type of look case. I know there's some of you that don't.
That bill would have set off my auto darkening welding mask.
It certainly could do.
Needs more pixels and DPI.
It does. I'm going to get you a close-up of the screen just so you can see how detailed that screen actually is. It won't do it justice because this is a 1080p stream, effectively. But, let's see. I think that's about the closest I can get. But it really, really doesn't do it justice how clear it actually is.
What's that thing there?
What thing where?
This thing that's dancing around.
It's a robot. It's the Lian Li robot. Of course, if you don't want to see that, you can just unplug it. And it is removable and sort of hot swappable.
Would that go in the hard plastics?
That would go in the hard plastics recycling. And yeah, I think I've upset it now, so...
Show it motorised, Mike.
Lian Li. So as a default, if you don't install the software, it'll just show you that, the water temperature. But then after a few seconds, the stuff will happen. So if I get the, where are we?
It's the RAM RGB.
No, it isn't, no.
Can't be picky when it comes to RAM nowadays.
So I'm going to make this screen bigger, hopefully, and I'll put it off to the side because you don't need to really see me, do you? And if we go into L-Connect, oh, I'm clicking on the wrong bloody mouse, aren't I? I always do that. Yes. So if I put this over here, and we'll go into the pump section, and where are we? OLED curves. And now I can make that screen a little bigger. Chuck it over there. So you can see what it's doing there, hopefully. And of course you can't, oh, wrong bloody mouse. So you can change the displays. There's various different options of what is available.
Click on your notice it's coming up on yours. Firestorm can taste the rainbow.
So yeah, there's loads of different themes you can have on here, depending on what your particular jam is. And actually, if I get a close-up now of that, so I'll show you it moving. There we go, that should do it. So if we go into, where are we? Device settings. So here is your adjustment. So let's do a little bit of turn. And you can just spin it around that way. Or you can spin it around that way. Or if you want to move it up and down, you can move it down so it's closer to the graphics card. Or if you want to, you can move it up. So if you've got to get to an M.2 drive, etc.
Wouldn't you just rip it off if you needed to do that?
Yeah. But it could be if you just want it to be a bit more balanced, so it's in a better position. Like, I think that's actually a better position to be in than the default.
Matt, you better tell Firestorm's girlfriend that he needs one.
Firestorm's girlfriend, he needs one of these in his life. Also got your offline clock mode, so when the PC is turned off, which actually, if I show you now, actually I won't, I'll show you that later. You got your lighting effects, so you can change the lighting effects individually as well. So you can have rainbow, because you've got RGB at the top and also at the bottom, which you can change. You've got your pump speeds and stuff, so whatever. There's a turbo mode, and you can go back to OLED screen. You can do a screensaver. So because it's OLED, there's an option for a screensaver.
Is it 3D print a virtual lunch?
No, sadly not. So that's the screensaver, which it just shows you briefly. Also, you can do custom themes, so you can make it your own custom theme. You can add various different components to it, images, etc. Do whatever you like. There's a 2D theme, so you can have something like that, for instance. So on one side you have got the information on one side, and if you go into device settings, if we move that around to the other side, so you can see it's showing something else on the other side. So you can choose to, however pretty much you want it to look or be. Put that back. So yeah, it's there's a lot of things you can do in terms of changing it. There's a 2D theme. You can also do split screens as well, so you can do a dual split, so you can have one lot of information on one side, one lot on the other, or you can do a triple split, so you can have 3 different things. So if you apply that, it will now show 3 different lots of system information. And again, if you can't see it, then you can have it to a different position so you can see what's on it. Obviously you wouldn't want to do this all the time, I'm only doing this just for demonstration purposes. But yeah, hopefully you get the general idea. So yeah, you've got your custom themes, you can individually choose which ones are on here. This is the beta version of the software. I've got the new versions out on Tuesday, so I'll be able to do it a little bit better then, hopefully. But yeah, there's quite a few baked in presets which you can go ahead and use depending on what your
It's getting crazier by the day.
Your thing is.
PC case with a 27-inch monitor.
Yeah.
As a side panel, but get rid of it RGB, won't it?
So now we've got some what's called bird on there. So if we're thinking now,
What?
some anime bird.
It's got cat ears.
So obviously that anime bird on there, that don't look right with rainbow puke at all, does it? So I think what we need to do, if we go into lighting, and let's choose a different, let's try breathing. And I think we should maybe go for a pinky colour. So let's find something a bit more pink. This is really hard to do on this screen. Is that red or pink? I can't tell. This actually is. The purple might go well with that actually. No, it won't. I want...
PC case and a 27-inch monitor would be cheaper.
You're absolutely right. Sorry, this is really hard to do with such a small little screen that I'm working on here. So I think that's probably pink enough. Which isn't actually that far from what we had. So let's apply that. And yeah.
It's a bit washed out on the camera.
The camera is washing it out a bit.
Idea.
No, let's go for red. Red looks better anyway. Oh, I didn't change that. There, that's better. Actually, no, I'm still really not keen on that. And I just thought actually the pump head should be in sequence as well. So let's go to the OLED curve, to the screen, and we'll go with the, oh god, where is it? Lighting effects. Let's change that to, what was the other one? What did I say the other one was? Breathing, wasn't it? That's better.
Imagine having that in your bedroom and leaving it running all night.
Yeah, that might
That'd be more annoying than Google listening in every now and again.
yeah, that probably wouldn't be great. So this is how you work out what fans are connected where. So these are the wireless fans, they're all connected at the moment. And if you want to know which ones are which, you can click on that bit there. And it will change the colour of the fans. So, right, okay, so that is the ones there. That's the ones on the AIO, which you can't see at the moment. And that is the ones at the bottom. And that's the ones on the side. So you can find out which fans are which just by clicking on that. And in the wireless utility, again, you can do that stuff and you can do all the colour stuff. Change it all individually. So you've got your fan profiles, which I've got set to custom at the moment. If you click on the lighting effects, you can check out lighting effects, and you can do that on the various different fans. It tells you how many you've got connected, etc., and what colour they're on. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I like personally I think it's the
Mike, very exciting.
cover cycle.
Actually, not.
Is it not?
I love how absurd this is, though. Go, Lian Lee. Just bring back all the aluminium cases, please.
Yeah, that's true.
And then O'Reilly's, do I need anime waifu? Is that what I say it?
Yeah.
On a screen on the pump head looking at me. That might be weird. And a letter said, O'Reilly, I bet someone will play porn on it. Oh.
Now, I'm not too sure why this is happening, but I'm sure that is supposed to have the... oh, I know what it is, because I plugged it in after, didn't I? I disconnected it and reconnected it. The pump in the middle is supposed to be doing the same lighting effect as the rest of it. you got all sorts of different things. I quite like heartbeat as well. Heartbeat's pretty cool. But yeah, that's my mistake. It is supposed to be doing the screen in the middle as well, but for some reason it is not syncing. I think that's because I disconnected it earlier and it's had a bit of a hissy fit. Where are we? Pump profile, yeah, we've done all that. Light sequence setting. Yeah, that is supposed to be in there.
I can't really see that pump head picture at all now.
No, it's a bit washed out, isn't it? Right, let's change that. OLED screen.
What a jump from light effect to can it do porn and all?
Can it do porn?
Yeah.
That's better, you can actually see it now.
L-Connect is like Lian Lee spyware.
Yeah, although it doesn't really have any spyware stuff as such. It doesn't even ask you for any usernames or anything. You don't have to have any specific settings in there.
It's free.
Yeah.
And
There we go. Let's leave it on that for a bit. Right, let's go to the other camera. Main camera. That's. Oh, I suppose that'll do.
I'm sure you can try and get something kinky on there if it lets you side load.
Yeah, you can put in whatever you want. You can put in all your own files, folders, videos, whatever, GIFs, JPEGs. You can run browsers on there if you want to.
Put that one of your bobs in there.
Which one?
That GIF.
Oh yeah. The RGB is on the fans. It's got to be said. Well, you think it's great now.
Or you and Luke.
This is an incredible bit of design. So this is a piece of glass, which is the top panel. So all of this is glass. But they've actually put a grill into the glass. Ooh, shit.
It's not fragile. You can slam it into.
Which is, yeah, there's a metal surround on it, obviously the metal tray on the back. But yeah, it's all glass, the top section, which is bloody mad, I think. So, the Hydroshift 2, which you probably have realised already, obviously mostly centralises around this screen. That is pretty much what it all is about. But also, the fact that obviously there's an AIO in here, which you haven't seen, because it's all tucked in. You've got the Hydroshift tubes there. The AIO is actually in this top compartment, which is currently covered up by this panel. But you don't have to have the panel in place. There's a standard panel, which doesn't have this digital display. So if you don't want your system readout on there, you don't have to. And if I grab a screwdriver, what could possibly go wrong with me doing this while the system is on? It's obviously going to be fine, isn't it? So let's just do it anyway. So a couple of screws. He says.
People see now, really, why I started doing the bang.
Yeah. I think so. Get ready for a bang. No, don't get ready for the bang. So we'll take that off of there. And, oh, you knobhead. And we'll pull that out of there. Now this actually is on a USB cable, so I'm going to unplug that and pull that out of there, he says. Oh, come on, don't get stuck in there now. Come on, we've rehearsed this.
Mike, you haven't mentioned the excellent Sapphire GPU.
I haven't, no, because I haven't really tested it. The Sapphire GPU is okay, but I've not really used it at all. Right, I've got to see where my my USB cable is in the back here, or what it's actually getting stuck on.
Oh, sorry, Firestorm. I make them jump more than you.
Right, that's better. So if you take that out of the equation, that makes things cheaper. And so now you can see, obviously, now the lighting effect, if I remember rightly, yes, goes round all of the fans. So it basically just goes back and forward through all of them. And it should be doing it through that as well. It did before, but it's not doing it now because it needs rebooting, I think. But whatever.
Pressure might off you for mates rates that high area.
Mates rates, I'm sure we could work something out. Yeah, and obviously, like I said, all the fans.
Postage would probably be more than €300.
Yeah, it probably would be. The system, I think, has turned out quite nice. Got the Sapphire motherboard, which has got the most insane BIOS. You got the Sapphire Pure 9060 XT.
Edward Bass, what is the cost of that?
What is the cost of what?
I'm not sure.
Edward, no idea. What bit? The whole thing? If I had to price up the whole thing, it would be ridiculous, I think, because the fans themselves are. I think the triple pack of fans is like 70 quid. So.
Dutch John says the
Yeah, I
case
don't
isn't
know.
bad, but as for the rest, just forget it.
Yeah.
Which is quite a compliment for Dutch John.
That's not bad for Dutch Jan, yeah. I think the case is really nice. I'm really tempted to do complete blasphemy and take out all the Lian Li hardware, other than the case, and put in a bunch of those cheap Jungle Leopard Prism RS4 fans, which kind of look a little bit like this. They're not as good by a long, long way.
Those fire
But
ones.
they were like £4 each. So you could put in like 10 fans for 40 quid, which is less than kind of like a double pack of those. No. Which I am tempted to do. And just put in like a, well, maybe take out the AIO and put in an air cooler. Because I think with the air cooler in, the actual build video for this is scheduled for Monday or tomorrow. I can't remember. It's scheduled, I think it might be scheduled for tomorrow. So yeah, if you want to watch the build video, how I put all this together and how it all goes together, there is a video done on it. And yeah, it was actually quite fun to work in this.
It's about £1,000 for the system.
It's probably in the, no, it's probably more than that because the RAM. Because the RAM arguably is like 300 quid. The cooler's 300 quid. The graphics card was 300 and something.
Oh, Rick H hasn't been feeling well lately.
So it's probably, I think it's probably about 1,300, I would have thought. Sorry to hear that, Rick. Mike, O'Reilly says, Mike, if you take out the Lian Li fans and put in some imitation clones, we will never speak again. It is tempting though. Obviously it's not going to look anywhere near as nice, and you won't have the same level of customization for the fan lighting and stuff. But then, to some people that isn't worth that money anyway, which I totally get. I think the real key takeaway of this is the case. Considering how much glass is in it, considering how much you can actually fit in here, and how well built it is, for less than £70 here in the UK, I think it's a phenomenal value for money. Like, how many micro ATX cases do you know that you can put the best part of, what's that, 10 fans in, and a 360mm radiator? There ain't that many that will do that. Not micro ATX anyway. And I'll spin it around actually so you can see the back. The back isn't particularly pretty. Actually, saying that, before I turn it around to the back, if you consider that there are 3 ARGB fans on the bottom, 2 ARGB on the side, 2 on this side, 3 at the top, plus an AIO and all the additional wiring that would normally entail, you can imagine the back of this is going to be an absolute nightmare, wouldn't you?
But as they were thinking of that, the only points out there are 3 versions of the AIO you can buy without. You can buy it without fans.
Yes, if you want to, you can buy this AIO as this version. This is the 360 TL. There's also the P28, which comes with the performance fans, which have a little bit of RGB on them, but not a lot. And then, I just realised I never tightened up the AIO. You also got the fanless version as well. So if you like the LCD screen, but you've already got your own Lian Li fans, which you really like, you can buy that. But to be fair, you don't save a massive amount of money.
Does a triple slot card fit in it?
Yes, it will do.
Can you say yes, a triple card?
Yes, a triple slot card would fit. There, well, you can almost see from there, there is about another 2 slots worth of gap there at the bottom. And I have seen other reviewers using this with big chunky cards like 5090s and stuff. And yeah, it's absolutely fine. Again, which Micro ATX isn't particularly well known for being able to do that. So yeah, I quite like it. I'm not too sure how I would like to keep it myself, but anyway, let me turn it around so you can see the back and you can get an idea of how much wiring is involved with this. I don't think that's actually going to go, is it? It might do. Ooh. There you go. Can you see that? You can. So,
which GPU could you have gotten if you added the cost of those fans and the AIO to the price of this GPU?
Sorry, what?
Which GPU could you have gotten if you added the cost of those fans and the AIO to the price of this GPU?
Probably a 5070 Ti, I would have thought. But I would say, in terms of an actual investment, I would argue that the case and the fans are probably a better long-term investment than the graphics card would be. Because we all know what happens with graphics cards. After like 5 years or so, they're basically worth nothing or very little. And after 10 years, they're completely obsolete and no longer got any drivers, possibly less than that. But with this sort of case, because of how well it's built and like what it is, there's no real reason why this case couldn't last you 20, 30 years. Unless there's some really drastic change to the Micro ATX specification, which is pretty unlikely. And again, same with fans. The fans are probably going to last you a good long time before they need replacing. The graphics card, like a 5070 or 5070 Ti is great, but in 2 years' time, it's not going to be great. It's just going to be another graphics card. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Personally, if it was me, I wouldn't spent £300 on that AIO. No, and hell no. It's just not the sort of thing I would do. But I do appreciate it for what it is, and that is one of the biggest problems with this entire case, is the fact that, or this entire setup, is the fact that I really love the case, and I love the kind of the principle behind the setup, but that AIO doesn't really work in this case, because that top section, oh actually, Wally, you can see how tight it is. There is a fan included in the back as well, which blows into the back section, which can feed some extra cool air into the AIO at the top, and also cools down the back of the motherboard where your CPU is. It's a bit noisy. I didn't like it. You know what I'm like with noise, and it's fine. It's not hitting anything.
The side fan isn't spinning.
It's currently unplugged. I'll plug it in so you can see it going. Although saying that, I don't think I've got another fan header. No, I haven't. So let me, what can I unplug? Let's unplug those, whatever that is. I think that's the side fans. No, that's the back fan. Yeah. So that is essentially what that does on the back. So that pulls in more cool air into the radiator. It does make a little bit of difference, but not a huge amount. It's not as if it's really choked in any way. Let me turn that back round. And yeah, I'm going to unplug that now because it's kind of pointless and it is a little bit on the noisy side. comparatively with the rest of the fans. Actually, I'm interested to see if it'll pick that back up and actually reintegrate it with the lighting. Yeah, it has. Cool. It's different. So yeah, I like it. I don't love the AIO. Not in this case. I think for me, to get the most out of this AIO and to enjoy it in its full glory, I would go with like the O11 Mini or the actually any of the other O11s really, where the AIO is actually properly on show. Because the whole point of this really is that that is a compartment which you can blank off. But then, like, I quite like the fact that you can see the RGBs and it ties in with the rest of the lighting style or the lighting setup. For me, that is like the reason why you'd spend the money on it. Like, yeah, the pump and all that's pretty cool. What's the computer doing now? The CPU has gone up to 73 degrees for some reason. Oh, antivirus scanning, I can see. 95% CPU load. Probably Windows updates as well. But yeah, I think for me personally, this is the wrong cooler for this setup entirely. I would go with something either more minimalist or just leave it wide open. I think it needs to be left open so you can see the fans at the top. I think that makes a lot more sense. But I don't know. Let me know what you think. Your data has been extracted. It's fine. Yeah. Are there other RGB modes? There's loads of RGB modes. And there's more coming shortly as well. Where are we? HDMI input. Is that the one? Yeah, there we go. So... when they got a W, that means it's a wireless only one. Actually, that might be what it is. Let's do runway a minute. Ah, that's what I was doing wrong. Yes, because this isn't wireless, but the rest of the system is, that's why it wasn't doing what it should be doing. So in the L-Connect software, which you can probably see now, you can see there's a W by the side of ones which are for wireless only, and the ones that haven't got a W next to them will do the whole system. So now you can see that is also doing what everything else is doing. Hang on a sec. So yeah, if I go back to Rainbow, you'll see that. What's Phil Stodd? Phil Stodd. Maybe a case supplier should offer an angled AIO cooler mount to show off to people. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Viz says, hey Mike, Tech Power Up said that the new curved OLED had a lot of room to improve for AMD thermal performance. Do you think the same yourself? Thinking about picking one up myself, but I'm on AMD. Truthfully, I've only tested it on AMD and I found it to be very good. Like at the moment, the ambient temperature in the room is about 26 degrees and the CPU temp at the moment is 42, just idling. And that's a Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, which for me, it's always run quite hot, and I rarely see it under 50. Or it's normally in like the upper 40s, 50s. That exact same CPU was in my streaming PC, and in there, with a 360mm rad, it would still always be around about sort of upper 40s, 50 degrees sort of thing. When we were streaming, it was quite often like in the mid 50s. And at the moment, that in there is, oh, I wish it would change back to see what it is, about 46 degrees at the moment, and this one is 42, and it's considerably warmer in here than what it has been recently. So in terms of thermal performance, if it does better on Intel, great. I don't see why that would necessarily be. Maybe there is a little bit of a kind of concave section, no, convex area of the cooler. Maybe it could be do something with, like, if it needs a bit of polishing or something. I don't think it does, but for me it seems to do really well. I do have the downside as well of using this case, which this case thermally performs like really, really well. because you've got 5 intakes and 2 exhaust. Or if you include the AIO, technically you've got sort of 5 exhausts, 5 intakes. So it does move a lot of air. Each one of these fans is good for like 90 CFM, which is way above normal case fans, which are normally around about 60 or so. So yeah, I don't know. I think it performs well. Whether it's worth £300, I honestly couldn't tell you. If you love the OLED screen, if you love the gimmicks and the wireless fans, then yeah, why not? I quite like the wireless fans. It's quite nice. Like, each one of these sets of fans only has 1 wire. Just one. That's it, 1 wire.
So if you went air cooled, then fit the LCD panel, you can't see the top fans?
Correct. Yeah, if you go air cooling and you put the top panel in, you still can't see the lights at the top, which I think spoils it a little bit. I quite like to see the lights and stuff at the top as well. I think with the panel there, just the plain panel, this looks a little bit bare and barren. Bit of a barren Karen. I think this area looks better open. Now, some of you are probably thinking about this section here, where there's a little bit of a gap. They do actually provide on the website 3D printable CAD files. So you can actually print out little sections to cover this in, or to at least block this off a little bit more, which is fine because the fans are intaking from kind of like both sides of the chamber, the back side and the front side. Realistically, I don't think it makes much difference with when the back's on, which if I put back on, if I can find it, where do I? Oh, it's behind you.
Back together and in the box and get those shandies out.
Get the shandies out then.
You drinking straight from the can?
I was going to put ice cubes in it in a glass.
You were.
Yeah, I suppose I have to, am I? So yeah, with the back panel on, I don't know, I quite like the fact that it diffuses a little bit of light that you can see through there, but again, like anything, it's going to be very much down to the individual, what they like. Anyway, let's show you some more of those themes, being as you can't really see me and I've just been chatting to myself there. So, Rainbow Morph, I have no idea what that is. I think that's just a static colour. Oh yeah, so that's just going through the RGB cycle. Static colour. So yeah, you can choose a static colour. I don't know why it's got multiple colours on there. Maybe that's because you can change them, I don't know. Oh, and also, yeah, you can get it to go with the Hydroshift, so whatever's displaying actually on the screen, you can make it do that, and if you do apply, it will match whatever's on the screen, like in terms of your actual display. So it analyses the display on there, and it changes the fans accordingly. I'm wondering if actually those synchronise particularly well for a different type of layout. Let's have a look. So let's change it to something with a bit more colour. Let's try that one. And then if we go back to QuickSync Lighting, we'll analyse the theme. Oh, I've got to do that first. Oh, analyse, isn't it? Sorry. So that is analyse what's on there, so it's doing that. So let's do that and do apply. Hello, McFly. Thank you. Right, let's come back to breathing. So sometimes you have to mess around with this a little bit. Static colour. Yeah, I don't think that's really doing much. So yeah, static colour is a bit shit. Breathing, we've pretty much done that.
Colour needs to rotate clockwise. We are north of the equator. But isn't that why beans and stuff curl anti-clockwise around the thing? Shouldn't it be anti-clockwise?
I don't know.
Because runner beans always coil anti-clockwise.
Yeah, there's... Thank you.
What do they do
Cheers,
in
everybody.
Australia, David Underhill.
Mhm.
What do runner beans do? Do they coil clockwise or anti-clockwise? I got the rest of the can.
Cool.
I'll have some in a minute when I finish.
What's that saying? Try the tropical fish gif. Oh yeah, there is a tropical fish gif, isn't there, somewhere? Meteor, runway. I think we've done runway already, didn't we? Yeah.
Viz.
Hang on a sec. These are all wireless ones, aren't they? Meteor, runway, wave.
David Underhill. That's why I asked. Does your baked beans?
Yeah.
Your runner beans. Do they go round the pole? Maybe don't grow pole beans.
Ripple. Let's have a ripple. That's pretty cool.
John David Sullivan. I honestly think less ARGB the better in this case.
You could be onto something there, yeah. Right, let's go back to rainbow. Do. What was there? There was another question, wasn't there? Was there about the RGB? Viz. What's Viz asking? Hi Viz. Just white, no LEDs.
No above. That's not Viz. Do you think it's worth running the pump?
Right. Do you think it's worth running the pump at a fixed 2800 RPM speed or letting it ramp up or down based on coolant temp? I've done it ramping up and down based on CPU temp. So at the moment it's running at basically 0. Like the lowest setting, 1600 RPM. And you can actually feel it. It's really powerful, the pump. You can feel both tubes, and you know that feeling like with a hose pipe when you got the hose pipe on really fast and you can just feel fluid going through it. It feels just like that. I don't know how fast it's traveling, but it seems to be traveling very, very quickly indeed. So that's it, 1600 RPM. At 2800, I don't like the noise of it. I'm going to do it now for you, just so you can hear it. But I think it sounds awful. I don't like it at all, and I wouldn't run it like that. But if you want to, you can do. Let's go to turbo. We'll go to fixed RPM. So it's about 2000-ish now. Well, you can see on the screen, can't you? 2800, 25, 24. Actually, that's not turbo mode, is it? Where's turbo mode? Oh, there, turbo. So I'll just crank that right up so you can hear it. You can see the CPU temperature dropping very slightly when the pump increases. So it's around like 40, 43 degrees on the CPU, which is in the top left corner there. Even with the pump on like top speed, which you can definitely hear, at least I can. It's not that bad. It's the hum, which would annoy me.
Which in Bristol we might have anyway, but I've never heard it.
Yeah, it's worse than the Bristol hum.
Which we've never heard.
Yeah, you can see it hasn't really changed the CPU temperature, especially like idling. If it was under load, it probably wouldn't make a great deal of difference either. So yeah, still at 43. And if we put it back down to PWM, which is what I normally have it set to, it'll probably jump up like a degree. But for me, I value noise over performance every day. So yeah, I would go with that personally. In which case, what's that, 1800 is that? Yeah, 1800 RPM. So it's not quite as slow as it'll go, but pretty much. I think anything up to around about 2000 RPM is tolerable. Anything more than that, and yeah, I would be hesitant. Let's go back to the main camera. Hello. Borda. Put you in a trance. Yeah. Actually as well, for those of you that don't want to use L-Connect, you can, for the rest of the lighting anyway, if you want to use L-Connect for this, the screen, actually, I've got a sneaking suspicion I've still got the protective coating on it. I think. Oh boy. So I didn't remember peeling it off. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. I don't know. But yeah, it is incredibly clear on the actual screen when you look at it, like up close. From a distance, it doesn't make sense really, but if you're sat right next to it, it's like, wow. Especially like with these bright bits in here, they really do pop.
But is that a good thing for your eyes? Doesn't that mess your eyes up after
Probably.
It makes it bright?
Probably. It rips off OLED display here. So yeah,
Come on.
personally for me, I don't think I would have put all of this into this case. I would have gone for probably the O11 Mini, the Evo Dynamic Mini, or yeah, whatever it is, the mini version, which is the ATX one, just so you could have the AIO one show a bit more. But with the cover on, there is a plain cover as well, which I don't have to hand at the moment. But yeah, there is a plain cover, but I think covering that up is, I don't know, a little bit of a shame. It's nice if you've got air cooling. So if you've got an air cooler in there, the top's covered up. So then if you wanted to, like, you could get one of those cheap Thermalright, is it Trello displays, which are like 30, 40 quid sometimes. You could stick one of those up there if you want to. It's another piece of software and it's not all going to integrate, but if you want that look, then yeah, why not? Exactly, Otis.
What's wrong, baby boy?
Graphics card wise, the GPU is like ridiculously cool. The GPU temperature at the moment, like this is an open case. Yes, it is got some air blowing at it, but it's a 26/27 degree room at the moment, and the GPU is at 29 degrees, like 2 degrees over ambient. That's pretty crazy. I say these fans, the TL wireless, they are, yeah, they're bananas. They really are.
Well, they're fans.
They are fans. They're banana fans. And
Yeah.
just to show you, I'm going to regret doing this because
You're getting your jokes from Google or something.
one of the cables for this at the bottom is actually a bit of a pain to get to, because it is a little bit cramped at the bottom for passing stuff through. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this actually. Maybe I will.
You've got food down here. Do you want it up?
Oh, come on. Oh. Oh, there we go. So this part you can take out altogether. Had you not got a really super long cable there. Can I pull some more through? Yes, I can. So yeah, that is what the fans are like. They are essentially wireless, so just one cable which runs from that connector block, and you can mount that onto the bottom tray. Again, you don't have to put fans on the bottom. If you could want to leave this open to have like a massive graphics card in there, hey, that's up to you. That is entirely fine. But yeah, this connector here is literally going to a fan header. It doesn't have to go to a fan header, but you can just plug it into a SATA adapter. It comes with a SATA adapter with 3 splits off it. So you plug one set of each fans into that just to get 12 volt power. Everything else is done wirelessly from the dongle. And this section here, even though it just looks like a connection for fans, that's actually a wireless receiver. So that receives the information for the PWM speed and the ARGB values. Which is kind of nuts.
When will you do a Linux build like all the other tubers?
Probably never.
Ice bucket challenge.
I don't ever see me doing a Linux build. I honestly don't see the point. Again, from what I said earlier on, the operating system isn't a problem. It kind of never really is. It's the applications and the internet and the storage of information which is the problem. The rest of it is the operating system itself. It's fine, and if you know how to use the operating system, that's even better. And there we go. There's a plug back in, and now all working, all fine and dandy. But I don't know whether I'll be able to get them back in, so wishing me luck. Oh, went back in easier. Yes, that's a real win for the channel.
Mike, think of the subs.
Who's going to subscribe to me by doing a Linux video? It's one of those things, it's been done, everyone's done it, and I haven't seen a single version of the video yet which actually goes anywhere to show you that installing Linux is actually a good idea.
It's almost the ice bucket challenge of
Yeah.
YouTube.
It's the kind of like the CIA mind control of the world. It's like, use Linux, use Linux, use Linux. And then everyone starts using Linux, and then Linux becomes shit. Or shitter. Like,
take advantage of it before everyone uses it. Enjoy it while you can.
When will people learn?
Same as everything, isn't it? As soon as it gets
We are the same there with the British government. Use diesel. It's much cheaper. It's much better. Much more miles to the gallon.
It's dirty.
And now it's like, right, it causes cancer, it's choking the environment, we're going to charge you more, and we're going to put DPFs and filters on your engine so it runs like shit.
And you can't drive anywhere.
Yeah, and you can't drive into the city centre anymore.
Where you can go.
It's all nonsense. Again, I wouldn't use Linux purely because of the fact that a lot of the things that I actually want to use don't work on it.
That's aluminium.
And also, which version of Linux do you use? Like, and also, when you do benchmarks, like, yes, some games run a little bit faster, but the reality is most games are roughly the same. And, like, even opening programs, like, if you have a decent Windows 11 PC on the same hardware, you put Linux on it, it's going to open, like, a millisecond faster. Who cares? For the amount of hassle it will take me to learn how to use Linux and to learn it with the kind of proficiency that I have with Windows, it just really isn't worth the bother. And why make Linux videos for like 5% of the YouTube viewership?
And the people that use it know how to use it better than what you would anyway.
Yeah, I'd be making videos showing people how not to do things wrong in Linux like I do with the Mac videos.
But
It's
John David
absolutely
Sullivan
pointless.
Understood you there, saying I think the government are lying about a lot more than diesel.
Yeah.
Just invert what they say.
Yeah. Anything the government says is good is bad, and anything the government says is bad is good.
Invert the law. Anything disapproved by the FDA, eat it. Anything they approve of, don't.
Gentleman Bad Boy says, I will stick with my O11 Evo RGB. Very nice. Mike, think of the subs. No. There won't be any. Like, people want to use Linux, that's up to them. Dave Aikens in the house. How you doing, Dave?
You heard the conspiracies.
Vianney says, Linux is probably better these days. I tried around 10 years ago, thought it was crap. The thing is, I've watched quite a few videos, especially like the Linus ones, Darry Does Tech Tips, explaining computers, etc., etc. And literally, like, not one of them really has had a good experience other than Luke on LTT, and that's because everything that he does is web-based. So it doesn't matter what operating system's on his computer. Like I said at the beginning, it's nothing to do with the operating system anymore. It's all to do with the online side of things. Because that's where everything happens. Like gaming. Pretty much all games these days have some form of online connectivity. So, yeah. And a lot of games don't work under Linux without faffing around. Most, or a lot of sound devices, microphones, headphones, etc., mixers don't work very well on Linux without doing some real tinkering. So like, just why bother? Linux has a use. It's a server or a web browser, but it's not a Windows PC, and it's never really tried to be. It's just people that are advocates for Linux are trying to make it as if it's a gaming desktop equivalent, but it really isn't. Just because it's used on a Stream Deck doesn't mean that necessarily it's going to be great for a desktop experience, because the kernel which is in the Stream Deck is basically built for that hardware. So if they built the operating system for all of our individual pieces of hardware, it would be great, but they don't, and it isn't. So it's a non-starter for me. I'm tempted to try it, but it's just, I really don't want to waste my time.
Mike didn't want to waste his time watching Breaking Bad once, and he's watched it how many? 4 times. I don't want to waste my time watching that. 4 times later. What are you watching tomorrow?
Suits. Alpha Indigo says, I emulate Windows, which runs faster on Linux. But how can you say that if you don't use Windows? How would you know that Windows runs faster on Linux if you don't use Windows? I don't really understand that. So you're saying Windows on exactly the same hardware runs slower than it does emulated in Linux?
What do you think of Grampy's build?
And what elements of Windows? Yay, Dave agrees with me. Yeah, Linux for me doesn't really benefit me in any way. I've tried a few flavors over the years, but always just wonder why. That's exactly where I am. Again, when I first tried using it was back in probably 2000, 2001, maybe 2002. And I was using some software based on Linux as well, called SME Server, which is kind of a double, not a double entendre, basically. Because SME is like, no, what's it? I'm sure it was SME Server. Basically, it was like a Linux server operating system with like RAID, and you could host websites from it, and it was basically like a NAS as well, file server, all sorts of stuff all built into one. And it was an absolute pig to use. And that was like one of my first real experiences of it. Then later on I installed Linux on like old crappy laptops and stuff with limited success, which like things just didn't work. There weren't drivers for it. I didn't know how to find the drivers. If I asked anywhere, it's basically like pointless asking in the forums, which it was all forum based back in the day. It just wasn't a very nice experience, but people still insist on saying that Linux is somehow better. It might be better, but is it more user friendly? I don't think it is.
I've not tried anything recent.
I've tried Linux Mint about a year ago. When the whole thing was kicking off, I had a drive and I thought, oh, let's just try it. And I don't know, I just got to the point where I installed it and it's like, right, how do I? And it got to the point where it's just like, this is ridiculous. I cannot find things I want to do. I couldn't install, what was it? There was a driver I was trying to install for something. I can't remember what it was now. But it was just like, I just don't understand any of this. It's not user friendly at all. There are very little manuals or anything available, documentation as such. And this is like, I just found myself going around in circles and I thought, why am I even doing this? And then things that don't, like that I actually do on a regular basis, like I use Adobe Premiere. Like you can't get Adobe to work on Linux. It's really hard to do without emulating it in Windows. So I might as well just use Windows. And things like, at the time, I'm not sure if it's different now.
Mike to do different things because he does.
Fortnite.
He just gets so angry.
Yeah, I tried playing like Epic Games. It's just a non-starter. And I think at the time, Steam, there was an issue with Steam as well. And it's like, it's just easier just to install Windows. Chances I don't think Mike likes Linux. I don't dislike it, but
You just don't know it.
it's
and you-
I don't know it. It isn't a friendly operating system in terms of actual trying to get things done. And I don't think the community are very helpful either. Like, there's quite a lot of, I think, sort of snooty people in the forums. And you even see it on YouTube videos, like, especially in Linus's, because it's obviously quite a big hitter. Any of his Linux challenge videos, just loads of Linux sort of haters just being obnoxious and saying, well, you didn't do this properly or that properly. It's like, well, that's the whole point. You shouldn't either have to do that, or it should be a little bit clearer what you need to do to get things to work without kind of nuking your operating system. That cat. No doubt at one point or at some time it will become a little bit more sort of mainstream compatible, but realistically, like, you think about it, a lot of Linux installations, when you just go to install them, if you don't know what you're doing, just getting it installed is hard enough. Whereas at least with Windows, like, it's actually not that difficult. Even like someone who isn't computer savvy can no, even people that don't know how to use a computer, if you give them a new computer with a USB stick with Windows on, they can pretty much get it up and running. Whereas with Linux,
Like the Windows.
I don't think it's easy. Yeah.
I was using Mint in my laptop, went back to Windows 8.1 on it, Rick H.
Cheers, Rick.
In Linux, you have to put in the work to really master it.
Yeah.
But it's the same.
I don't think you need to put in the work to master it even. I think you need to put in the work just to be able to get it up and running.
It's the same as
Mastering it is another level altogether.
But it's the same as you with your iPhone. When you went from Android to iPhone, you used to get so angry, going, "Why isn't this so straightforward?" Brr.
Yeah.
So it is a lot of muscle memory and kind of how you're used to doing things.
Actually, I think, yeah, a lot of it will be as well. If you, like, Kath's brought up a very good point there. Like, I was on an Android phone for a long time, then I went to an iPhone, and it seemed really counterintuitive. Whereas now, because I've been using an iPhone for so long, when I pick up an Android, it seems really hard work. So there is going to be an element of you kind of get used to what you're used to, and the kind of the methodology of how the operating systems work. So when you have to face a new thing which is outside of your comfort zone and also outside of your knowledge base,
And you don't have a lot of time.
and there's no help feature as such,
And you don't have a lot of time to be.
yeah, and you don't have time, which a lot of us don't these days, like, just why?
But you get so angry at that phone.
I
If
would.
it weren't for the watch, you would have got rid of it, I think.
Yeah.
Well, you did go back to Android a few times after you first got it, didn't you?
David Underhill says, the number one supposed advantage of Linux is all the different choices of distros. The number one reason it is useless is the large number of distros. I agree entirely. I do. Oh, Mark Gaines says, I sent a PayPal. Sorry, Mike, I sent a PayPal contribution. Did you receive it? Okay. I do like that. Sending a super chat to see if a donation come in. That's
you don't
awesome.
need to do that,
That's
Mark.
like double bubble. I'd love to know where my mouse is right now. Oh, there it is. Oh, and it's still plugged into this thing. I'm probably going to unplug the wrong thing now.
It's showing on my text messages, but it's not showing on my emails. But the internet's a bit rubbish because Mike's been fixing it today.
Oh, that's just hurtful.
In break and Mike fixes it.
Actually, I'll have a... Where's my phone? Ah,
It says it on there, but there's no message because I can't get it up in the email.
alright. Let's have a look. Which one is it?
Bottom one.
Today. Oh, yeah, sorry. £30 from Mark Gaines. Thank you very much. I can't see the message because Kath needs to log in. But thank you.
I log in, I don't have it on my phone.
And also thank you for the super chat also.
It should come through
Which should be
email,
on the
but it
screen.
hasn't.
Is it on the screen? No, it's not. Why is it not on the screen? Work, you bastard. There we go. Bless him.
As you said, we should
Is that a picture of you, Mark, in your profile picture there? Is that the actual geezer himself? Excellent. Thank you very much, Mark. Much appreciated. You're a lovely man.
Right, it's coming on here. I've got it on my computer.
All right. Is there messages on there?
Here's some coin.
Here's some coin
Of the realm.
of the realm.
Loving that Lian Lee AIO.
Loving the Lian Lee AIO. Thank you, Mark. I like it. I do. I do like the Hydroshift thing. A lot of people, when they're installing or using AIOs, one of the things which always bugs me is like where the tubes go or how they actually kind of fit. Sometimes when you're installing a water cooler in a system, you end up having to kind of take it all back out and twisting it around 180 degrees to get the tubes to kind of flow in a nice orientation or to kind of loop around or something. Whereas with this, where they just go out the top and they're kind of just out of sight, out of mind, it's really cool. And actually what I should have mentioned as well, in the back of this case, because the Hydroshift has got brackets on it from the factory, so it just kind of clamps along the back edge. This case actually has its own built-in ones. So you take those off and use the ones inside the case. So if you buy this case and you want to do like a Hydroshift type scenario, but with a non-Hydroshift AIO, you have got clamps in the back to enable you to do that. So you can still run your AIO tubes kind of out the top and over the back if your AIO supports it. Obviously with Intel ones, that's a little bit easier because generally you can turn the Intel ones around kind of any version of 90 degrees throughout the whole 360. Whereas with AMD, generally it's kind of like either that way or 180. So you can't always get the tubes to fall in the right position. So do kind of bear that in mind when you're thinking about that, especially for AM4, AM5 builds, especially in this type of setup. Another cool thing about the Hydroshift as well, which wasn't obvious to me, but actually makes a massive amount of sense, is the fact that because you've got your pump down here, and the tubes are kind of up from the top, it means that you very rarely get any air stuck in the actual impeller or the pump head itself, because the tubes are at the top, the pump's at the bottom, so the only place the air can go is up through those tubes when it's getting forced around. Whereas if you have your tubes on the side, you've obviously got a low spot at one point or the other, because normally the impeller is like a circle like that, and then you've got your tubes coming out from the side. So there's always a little bit where you can get a little bit of bubble in the top or the bottom of that circle. Whereas with this, because you've got a circle, but the opening is at the top, bubbles naturally want to go up, because obviously physics. So yeah, that is another side effect. So the pump, after a while, the pump, I did notice that the pump was a lot noisier when I first used it. So there must have been some air stuck in there from transit or whatever. But now, I can barely hear anything. So yeah.
Mark King says that is him.
Cool.
And Bat.
What time?
It's like 4 messages up on the bottom.
Hey, does that VRM... Sorry. Hey, does that have a VRM fan? I remember that they said it would have. No, it doesn't have a VRM fan. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. No. Oh, shit. Finger. That's one thing as well, that is Lian Lee fans. They've got a really strong motor. Like most normal fans at low speed, if you put your finger in, it's like, it's fine. But these are bloody strong. They hurt a little bit. Dutch Jan says, just rip out that AIO and stick a big ass air cooler in there. Well, funny enough, like I said, when the video for the build comes out of this, I did the initial build actually with an air cooler, so you can see what it looks like then, and then you can report back and see what you think. So,
What is it, my darling?
No. Dutch Jam, I missed the 23 floppies from Windows 3.1. When I first got our first computer, we bought it actually as a wedding present to ourselves when we got married. So that would have been, well, we got married in February 96. So I think we bought the computer March or April.
Probably March from there.
It's quite soon after. But yeah, we bought our first PC, and it was a PC with a monitor and a printer, I think, a dot matrix printer. And it was about £900 altogether, I think.
No, the printer came with it.
It might not have done, actually. You might have bought it after.
I think we bought it, but I don't know if we bought it off him again.
But yeah, we had the PC. I think it was an SX 386. And it was just at the point when 486s were being a thing. And Pentium shortly after. And I'm sure it was an SX 386. And yeah, when we first got it, I killed Windows in a very, very short time.
Not 60,
yeah.
3 seconds.
Dave, the guy I bought it off,
Dave.
I'm not sure if I gave him the computer or where he came round. I think I gave him the computer. And
we went to his house.
Oh, did we? Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, I remember now. Yeah, we went to his house and got him to reinstall Windows and got it back again. And I was pretty sure that I was going to do it again. So we bought on, I'm pretty sure it was on Trade It or something, wasn't it? Was it from Trade It?
Might well have been.
There was a Trade It magazine, which is like a local version of like eBay. Like your Craigslist, but like in a newspaper form. It used to come out on a Tuesday and a Friday, I think it was. And yeah, there was somebody local selling Windows 95 on floppy disk. And that was about I think that was about 28 discs in total. Maybe 33. But if you didn't install all the parts of Windows 95, you didn't have to use all the discs. So you always went for a minimal install. And yeah, I do have fond memories looking back at that, installing Windows 95 version 1 from scratch, from floppy disk. And just, yeah, sat there waiting for it to read another disk. Like, those discs were 1.44 megabytes per disk. Just terrifying if you think about it. But, yeah, those were the days. I quite enjoyed that. And it was a learning experience. And of course, back then, there wasn't really an internet to speak of. There weren't really PC forums or magazines or anything really. It was all very much kind of like you learn as you go. There used to be, yeah, I think AOL and MSN used to have a few chat rooms and stuff, but there wasn't really much.
Told them we were professional porn stars, didn't we?
Phil says, note to Mike's unboxing, don't put your finger in the fan. That's a good idea. Dutch Jam, my first PC was an XT with an amber coloured monitor. Wow. Alpha says, was it AMD or Intel version? My SX386, I would imagine it was an AMD version. I don't think it was an Intel. Because I don't think I had an Intel processor for quite a long time. From memory. Maybe my 486 was Intel. But after that, pretty much everything I had was either Cyrix or AMD. And it wasn't until the Intel Socket S370 and Slot 1 came out that I think I had a Pentium, no, I had a Celeron 300 or 333, I think, in a Slot 1. I think I had a Slot 1 Celeron. I think it was 300 megahertz. And I distinctly remember the shop I went in to buy it, M Squared, which I ended up actually running for a while. I went in there and they were saying something along the lines of, oh, the front side bus on this is like 66 megahertz or something. And we were saying, oh yeah, I'll be impressed when we get to have a front side bus of 1 gigahertz. Rather than a CPU being a gigahertz, it'll be a front side bus of a gigahertz. And like all these years later, and obviously like that has come to pass and beyond. So yeah, it's quite mad. Senrab says, I had 144 in my head, but the megabyte or kilobyte I could not recall. God, if it was kilobytes, oh my God, that would be absolutely horrendous. Mark Berry says, I got my Windows 3.11 for free from work. Happy days. Good times. Billy Bob says, using Quem 386 to manage your memory. Yeah, God. Somewhere about a Cyrix Pentium D CPUs. Cannot remember, to be honest. Recall graphics cards with Ali heatsinks. Yeah, like the early graphics cards didn't really need much cooling at all. Especially things like your old ATI cards, like the Rage 2, Rage 2C, Rage All-in-Wonder, then All-in-Wonder cards. Yeah, good times. Back in the days, I was trying to remember how we actually controlled fan speeds back in the day, but we didn't, did we? They just run. And that was it. You just plugged them into your Molex connector, because motherboards didn't really have fan connectors back then. So you just plugged it into a Molex, and yeah, it just spun as fast as it wanted to spin, and that was it. And you apply thermal compound if you were feeling flush. Most of the time, you just put the CPU cooler on top, and that's it. Be done with it. Mad times. I do miss it. I really do. The simplicity of it back then, and the kind of the innocence and the learning, and like the real cool thing, I think, it reminds me of something from Only Fools and Horses. So if you've never watched Only Fools and Horses, you probably won't get this, but it's something which I think is definitely a thing. Like Only Fools and Horses, their whole thing was every day getting up and striving to put some money together to basically live. And after a while, they won the lottery. And after a little while of winning the lottery and basically not having to do anything, they hated it. They wanted to go back to doing what they did before, because they enjoyed the thrill of the chase and like that motivation to get up and do stuff. And I feel that a lot of that has happened to computing. Whereas back in the day, like, you would cobble together spare parts, and like you'd find a case, and maybe you'd get a hard drive, and you'd probably have a CD-ROM drive and maybe a floppy drive, and maybe the CD-ROM drive would be a different color from the floppy drive, or like you might not have a side panel for the case, or there might be a fan missing, or I don't know, whatever it is, it might have some sort of imperfection. But you loved it because it took you ages to get it all working together and to kind of source up the parts, and it was all like, it was just all a lot more difficult to do. You had to physically go out of your house, go to a retail store, buy something, get it home, install it, install the drivers yourself, work out the IRQs and change the card placements in the slots because they were conflicting or whatever. You had to write your little DOS commands in to actually get DOS to recognize your things and set the IRQs in DOS, like 220, 5.1, whatever it was for sound cards, etc. And it was like, it was a genuine task, a thing that you had to kind of work towards getting done. Whereas now, like, money aside, it's quite easy just to build a PC that looks like absolutely nuts and all matches and everything being synchronized and just being all a little bit too perfect. I kind of almost do desire going back to the days where you really did have to cobble things together and it was a challenge. Whereas now the challenge is like, oh, well, will this synchronize with that?
Will Dave be quiet?
No, he won't. But yeah, maybe you understand where I'm coming from with that. That the kind of, I think that's why some people do like PC flips, because that keeps you in that game of like sourcing parts and getting deals and gives it a bit more of an excitement edge. Dutch Jan says, I always find overclocking the most fun. See, I really don't like overclocking. I don't mind like undervolting and optimizing, but overclocking for me now feels a little like Linux, a little bit like, why am I doing this? Why am I wasting my time? Because the reality is PCs, even like entry-level PCs these days, are plenty fast enough to do most things. But don't get me wrong, much like me trying to synchronize my RGB and get all that working together, I do appreciate people that do overclocking to really, really kind of nail their system performance down on an individual core basis and really squeeze everything they can out of their systems, much like car tuners. So I definitely admire and appreciate what you do. It's just not for me. I don't have the inclination or the patience for it.
It's like The Sims for me. I just chuck all the furniture outside because I don't want all the loading times to go up the stairs and go to bed and all that. Just put the bed in the garden and get in it. I don't have the designing skills.
Dave Aiken says, finding a sweet deal and building a flip system around it is more fun than using a PC for me. Yeah. I understand where you're coming from with that, totally. And although I get a little bit frustrated with it nowadays, especially with like the price of RAM and M.2 drives, storage, it's really taken the down, like, yeah, it's just, it sucks. Because you can find some reasonable deals, and like, again, I will put a link for our Discord. The eBay bargains bot is just something which I almost need to remove because it's just too tempting to buy shit all the time. And then I end up having loads of stuff and I'm like, oh God, I've got to build a system now. And it always makes it like as if it's a chore. But some of the bargains are just so good, you can't ignore them. And it does annoy me a bit.
It annoys me more because you moan about having to answer the door.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And it's your staff.
Semmer says, did a BIOS update yesterday through MSI Center. Went into BIOS and reset everything, but set PBO to negative and fans went loopy. Today did undervolt and calm returns. Yes, I do like a good undervolt. The AM5 processors set an all core negative to -20 and yeah, happy days. That is pretty much always what I do now.
Should you give away some donations?
Yeah, go on then. Well done, Kath. Save the day.
Don't want to become a member.
You need to use face-based market scam. Oh God, I hate Facebook Marketplace. I've actually, the PC that we built in last week's stream, I listed on Facebook yesterday. And I've had a couple of people interested already, but not sold yet. I stuck with the 512 drive, or 500 gig drive, and I aimed for 750 for the system, which is not bad. I think it owed us about 880 fully, but whatever. Anyway, Kath's giving away some memberships now, or is about to. There we go. So that is to Connor 3178, Sean Gallagher 515, Caillou Shin 4712, Greg Hurst 7575, and Angel Gaming PH. You've all received Mike's Unboxing gift memberships, so you get slightly early access to videos. Hercules, Hercules, Hercules. Enjoy, and feel free to continue your membership after the trial ends. Thank you very much. Just reading that.
I say you're quiet, but you're purring inside.
Rasher says, today's processors already run very close to their safe limits out of the box. Features like Intel's Turbo Boost and AMD Precision Boost automatically push clock speeds higher when there's thermal and power headroom. In many cases, a stock modern CPU will briefly boost higher than manual overclock could sustain 24/7 anyway, especially under real workloads. Yes, I agree. I find that I used to overclock CPUs. I think I had a Intel Core 2 Duo E4400, which was like a 2 gigahertz CPU, and from memory, I'm almost sure that thing could run at 4 gigahertz, even though it was supposed to be a 2 gigahertz dual core. It used to run at 4 gigahertz. I'm pretty sure I would run it consistently at 4 gigahertz, or maybe I knocked it down to like 3.8 or something, or 3.7, just because like 4 gigahertz just seemed way too much. But it seemed to do it. And there's the old Intel Celerons, the socket S370s. They used to overclock pretty nicely. Like you could add 100 megahertz reasonably easily. It was pretty cool. We'll show that one. Dave Aiken says, talking of deals, feeling chuffed, finally got the Threadripper system working. I picked it up on Facebook for 75 quid. Took me hours. That platform is very sensitive. What, you got the whole system for 75 quid? Wow. Viali 100 says, I started my membership from a gift membership. Bless your heart, and you've been with us ever since.
No, he was with us before he had his membership.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, CPU, RAM, motherboard case, and custom loop. Just missing SSD was sold as faulty. Happy days. Wow. I always wanted a Threadripper back in the day when they came out.
It was just the way his trousers.
Yeah. Here, mate, have you got a Threadripper? No, it's just the way these trousers hang. Oh, dear. Right, what time was it? I think we've... have we done? Is there any other things of conversation I could do with turning this off, really? I'm trying to think. There was something else which I was going to discuss on the stream, and it's really gone from my head. I'm looking on the board to see what I made notes of, and I can't think. I think I've shown you everything I can do on this, other than the blanking plate, which basically destroys it, I think, personally. But for a cheaper system, with the case as standard, without all the fans and stuff, I think the case is a really cool idea. The AIO, for me, I think really does need to be in a different case. The whole point of covering this up is yeah, a little weird. It doesn't look too bad open like this, I think, but the fact that, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about it. It does look like, I think it looks really cool. I like all the lights, and I was really tempted to have this on the back shelf there, but the more I think about it, I don't know what configuration I would have, because I don't think I would keep the AIO in it. The AIO is probably going to be going back anyway to Lian Lee, so I don't think I get to keep that. The case they generally let you keep because just the cost of shipping. Like, it's probably going to cost about $40 to $50 to ship it back to them anyway, so it's kind of pointless. But the AIO is quite a substantial outlay, so I don't think I'll be able to keep that, but hopefully I'll find out later on next week. Let them know the video's gone out and everything is all good and happy days, etc. Yeah, so I don't know. I really don't know. It's a real shame that they sent it, because now I know I can't stop looking at that screen.
And then you'll mean your eyes are bloody buggered up next week.
It's so sharp, that screen. It's just, I think it's actually sharper than my phone. Yes, it is, actually, 100%. Yeah, it's much, much sharper. I'm sure my phone's OLED. Maybe it's not. Is it iPhone 16 Plus OLED? If it is, it doesn't look as nice as that does. Someone let me know. Rashers give us 20 euros. Thank you very much. What? Says, nice Mike and Kath. You're very welcome, as always, Mr. Rashar. Semrab says, question, change of topic, Mike. If a faulty hard disk drive is hot swappable in my NAS, can I just click remove in ADM and replace with fresh? Yes, you can. Yeah, that's the whole point of the hot swap bit. So yeah, identify the drive, get ADM to stop it, and it kind of demounts it so you can eject it. Although it's probably demounted anyway if it's faulty. So yeah, you can just add in another drive, and when you click on whatever, I can't remember what the next button is, but you click on a button and I think it's it is for it then rebuilds the RAID array, and then it will stop bleeping or giving you warning messages, hopefully. Dave Aiken says, yeah, iPhone 16 is OLED. See, I don't think like, this doesn't look very good at all, I don't think.
You've nothing but complained about that since you've got it.
I like it. If I put it on the full brightness mode, let's put on what website? Let's do Facebook or something. It's got loads of colours and stuff. Oh god. Yeah, like that. I don't know. I think that looks nicer. This looks weird. Like when you put the brightness right up, it just looks like someone's put a light behind it. I don't know. I don't like it. Maybe I don't like OLED. Maybe if I got an OLED monitor, I wouldn't actually like it. But that, I think, looks great. I could quite.
Get rid of all your monitors and just have that.
I could quite happily do that. You can actually use this as a secondary monitor. So if you, in the software, in LConnect, you tell it to be a secondary monitor, you can actually run Windows or games or whatever you want on the screen, which is, yeah, pretty stupid. Because the scaling is just so small in Windows. It just looks really wrong.
Are you still moaning, David? Yeah, what's wrong? I don't know what you want.
Dave says iPhones generally have quite reserved colour profiles. They go for natural over super high saturation. See, I think mine's the opposite. When I watch content, especially when it's like on the highest brightness, when I'm watching outside, it just looks really weird. Let me see if I can find a YouTube video to show you. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but that's on full brightness, and just the colours just look all weird. I don't know why it is.
I think it's your eyes.
No, because that looks fine, but this just looks weird. And it's like anything which is bright looks artificially bright, and things which are dark look too dark. It's like the HDR tone mapping's wrong or something. But anyway, whatever, is what it is. It's actually better than my Android. I got the Android Pixel 9, I think it is. And the Pixel 9, that is just awful. The screen on that is
Mark Games is off.
gross. Cheers. Thank you, Mark. Enjoy the rest of your bank holiday weekend.
And your Big Mac. For Big Mac.
Mike, have you got Apple True Tone turned on? I think I have. Where is that? Where is it in? Is it in display? Display and brightness. Appearance, light or dark. Liquid gas, glass. True Tone. Yeah, True Tone is on. And brightness is, yeah. So if I turn True Tone off, no, True Tone automatically adapt display based on ambient lighting conditions to make colours appear consistent in different environments. I wonder if it is that.
Android is Windows, right?
No, Android is Google, effectively. Yeah, that still doesn't look right. To me, like, where there's a white screen, the white just seems to be, like, overly blown out. And the darker bits look fine.
It'd be hard to see on a camera.
But the whites, to me, look very, very kind of
Mine looks alright.
blown out. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, because I always thought that iPhones had like the best colour anywhere. But this particular phone was the first one that I thought to myself, actually I don't like it a lot. I always wanted to get my old one back. Android is a custom variant of Linux. Yes, it is.
Excuse me.
Rasha says OLED is king because LCD screens use a backlight behind the panel, so blacks are never fully black. Yeah, I must say that the darker colours do look like very representative of what they should be. I just find the whites are just like not right. Alpha Indigo says Mike is a Linux user. My Android phone gets very, very, very limited use. And in fact, of recent times, I've only ever turned it on just to do the update so that when I do actually need it, I don't have to wait for like hundreds of updates rather than just a few. I try not to. I use Synology, and that's based on Linux. So technically I do use Linux. But for an operating system like that, it makes absolute sense.
Something stinks now.
Yeah.
Making me sneeze.
So what about your Apple FreeBSD based phone? It is, yeah. Viali says, for a monitor I prefer IPS, but TV always OLED. Yeah, I quite like IPS. I would like to try an OLED monitor just to see if I get on with it, but it's a lot of money to just try it. It would probably be nice for video editing because you can see the colours better. I do struggle with colours on my my monitor a little bit, only due to the fact that I find it hard to like look at my monitor and see if that is going to be what other people see. I think it probably is because I've looked on other screens and the colours look generally okay, but you know, whatever. David Under says, funny fact, my new ISP supplied router is reported by Windows 11 as OpenWRT. Very good. Crypto KJ says, thanks for the Virgin Media video. We are due a renewal in August, and so far on the screen, renew price is more than we are paying now. I've saved the Ren team to my contacts, ready to haggle with them. Excellent. Yeah, we actually had a few people after that Virgin Media video went out say that, just to say thanks, that they've saved a lot of money by going straight through to that number. So yeah, I'm glad we made that video. Yeah, they'll probably change it for us soon, or they'll change it for themselves soon, just so people don't hassle them on it. I wonder if at any point someone will say, Mike's Unboxing told me to ring his number. Then I'd be like, oh shit. Semram says, my son gave me his old Sony OLED when he went to the USA to work, and useless during the day because of reflections. Dark room, brilliant. Yeah, that's the thing I do get, because trying to get an OLED screen which has got like a matte finish to it, I believe is a little bit harder than glossy. Because glossy obviously looks better, but I'm in a similar situation that my monitor is at 90 degrees to the window. So any light coming in there will reflect on there. And yeah, especially with like studio lights and stuff as well. Real pain in the proverbial. Right. I think that's going to be it. I think we have exhausted the conversation for tonight, unless there's anything else you would like to say. But I would like to say thank you very much for joining us on this Saturday evening. It's very, very warm, and it's getting warmer. I'm actually quite lucky that this is on next to me, because these fans, even though they are extremely quiet, they are moving a decent amount of air, and it's actually keeping my my arm and my wrist cool, which is nice. Hey, the screensaver's just kicked in on the old OLED. That's bloody wonderful, that is. And someone moved the mouse with their arm. That was me. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us, and thank you all for your kind donations, contributions, your watching the videos, sharing them and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, or hopefully weeks, we'll have some very exciting news for you all. But we can't say anything as of yet until everything is signed and sealed. And potentially you might find out before then anyway, because we might ask for your help on a certain aspect of it. But regardless, exciting times, and yeah, tell you more about it when more information is available. But I think that's going to wrap. Dave says they're having another baby.
Oh, which?
Stop. Shut up. No.
Oh,
Not going to happen.
We could have another 8.
No. Dave. We have words. No. Exciting stuff coming forward. But until then, have a fantastic bank holiday weekend if you're having a bank holiday weekend here in the UK, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, etc. And anywhere else in the UK, around the world. Maybe other people are as well. I don't know. potentially. But anyway, there will be a fresh new video out either tomorrow at 2 p.m. or on Monday at 2 p.m. I'll probably do it tomorrow because then people that are off Sunday and Monday got something to watch because it's quite a long one. So you'll see the complete build of this case. Very cool. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you all for sharing, liking, subscribing, etc, etc. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Say bye, Kath.
Bye.
Bye.